Good morning. It's 7 o'clock on Friday, the 3rd of July. The headlines today: Andy Burnham has ruled out what he called crude cuts to welfare. As Sir Charlie Mayfield, the businessman leading a government drive to reduce unemployment, tells us that supporting more people with long-term sickness into jobs would deliver growth hiding in plain sight.
This is not a zero-sum game. It's not a question of employers win and employees lose or vice versa. Everybody can win.
We'll discuss then how to cut welfare and ask, could we learn from Germany, where workers will now need a sick note from the very first day of their absence. The United Nations Human Rights Council is to hold an emergency session on Sudan as fears grow of an imminent attack on the city of Al Obeid. And Iran is beginning several days of public mourning and funeral processions for its supreme leader Ali Khamenei, who was killed in a joint American and Israeli strike in February.
Also coming up on the eve of the 250th anniversary of America's Declaration of Independence is President Trump hijacking the celebrations.
July 4th, we will have the greatest show of all on the National Mall. Your favorite president will be speaking. So please show up.
That wasn't a clip of dead ringers. It did sound like it was. We'll be speaking to one of the president's long-standing friends about what we can expect tomorrow and what it tells us about the State of the Union. And pubs can stay open until 5 a.m. on Monday morning for the England match. Yes, a school night, but how are landlords gearing up for the big game? All that after the BBC News, read for us this morning by Vijay Alice.
The author of a major government-backed review aimed at boosting the workforce has told this programme that tackling unemployment linked to long-term illness will unlock economic growth that's hiding in plain sight. The former John Lewis chairman, Sir Charlie Mayfield, who's leading the Get Britain Working Task Force, says economic inactivity as a result of sickness or disability costs the UK £212 billion a year. 250 major employers are now working with him to stop people dropping out of the workforce. Here's our employment correspondent, Zoe Conway.
The UK economy is desperately in need of growth. So Charlie Mayfield argues that one way to stimulate it is to prevent people from dropping out of work. There are 33 million working adults in the UK, he says, and nearly 3 million not working because of ill health.
If we could just get a 1% improvement on that number, you would add something the equivalent of Cardiff as a city to the workforce. And you wouldn't have had to build a single house. You wouldn't have to open a new channel of immigration. You wouldn't have to wait for a cohort of young people to join the workplace. This is basically growth hiding in plain sight.
So Charlie says that government will need to ensure that workplaces have access to affordable healthcare, especially small businesses. And employers should be rewarded for supporting their employees to stay healthy. But he doesn't spell out how the cost of this should be met.
And you can hear the full interview with Sir Charlie at 8:30.
Well, I waited to see if I could hear the full interview at 8:30, and I couldn't find it. But let's go looking, shall we? 8:30. Let's have a look here then. Full interview at 8:30. 8:30.
Spanish radio.
Lo vuelve a intentar Pedri, vamos Pedri, Cucurella, ¡pa'l centro y el gol!
So that was Charlie Mayfield, was it? Right, well, it's the leader of Fat Bastards Against Going Back to Work, the anti-Get Britain Back to Work campaign. Now, it's all very sort of begging, isn't it? You know, there's an element that Charlie says that if you don't go back to work, we're going to stop your benefits. And I don't think, with all due disrespect to Germany, with their history of Arbeit macht frei, work sets you free, I don't think they are the sort of litmus test for getting people back to work. Day one, you got to let us know how you're going to get back into work if we sign you off work. Now, 33 million in work, that is quite amazing in itself. And 3 million, of whom I am a member, are economically inactive. How many of those are claiming benefit? How many of those 3 million? I don't know. I'm not currently. If I could get my hand into the free money honeypot, I'd be there. But the Department of Work and Pensions locally have put a DNR out on me. Like car and van rental companies, they have a do not rent. And basically, the Department of Work and Pensions have said, do not give this feckless, work-shy Dolite any money whatsoever. In fact, I am paying back a universal credit claim. I'm paying that back monthly. So the Department of Work and Pensions are taking money out of me, out of my account, where nothing whatsoever is coming in, right? So, I mean, they're only going to have themselves to blame in a while, because I'm going to hit that threshold where I'll be able to claim again. So Charlie says, get back into work. Charlie says that employers should do more, especially small employers, to maintain the workforce. Don't allow anybody to sort of fall off the chain gang. I mean, this should be meat and drink to the Conservatives and Reform UK. They should be describing Charlie Mayfield's plan like the Stalinification of work. Because, I mean, if you didn't work in one of Stalin's work camps, that was it. That was your lot. And instead of sort of burying the person in a shallow grave, basically the Department of Work and Pensions, the government will be saying, if you don't work, you won't be getting any benefit. So you're going to have to drag your bones, whatever your condition, whatever your disability, whatever your infirmity. We need to get a percentage of that 3 million who are currently claiming benefits, taking money out of the back pocket of those hard-working taxpayers. We need them to get back into soulless, mind-numbing, pointless work just for the sake of it. Fat bastards against Sir Charlie Mayfield. Sign up in the comments below if you're fat and overweight like myself and refuse to put one foot in front of the other to go and sign a CV, or to go knocking on an employer's door and say, please give me a job. If you don't want to beg like the government are begging, then join the Fat Bastards Against Work movement here. Thank you very much indeed.